Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is my review of the 1997 action film, Fire Down Below. Now, before I get around to sharing any more thoughts on this film, I want to give a special shout out to Brock for requesting yet another review. And if there's another film, TV show, or topic that you would like to see me discuss in the future, feel free to donate to my PayPal. The link will be in the video description down below, and I'll try to get to it as soon as I possibly can. Now, Fire Down Below is, in my opinion, the last good Steven Seagal action movie. I can get some enjoyment out of Exit Wounds and like maybe two or three of the direct-to-video films that I've seen him in, but this is the last one where I could say I actually liked the movie, and I wasn't just lukewarm on it. And it's not necessarily the best way to go out because yeah, I liked the film, but I do have some issues with it. It's not like I enjoy it on the same level as any of the Under Siege films or even the Glimmer Man, but it's still a entertaining action movie, and I definitely don't think it's anywhere near as awful as some of the critics make it out to be. But then again, critics had it out for Seagal. Like I think maybe Under Siege is like one of the only ones that got positive uh critical acclaim. There might have been one other one, but a lot of the Seagal films were just hated on by critics when they came out, regardless of the quality. So, Fire Down Below is no exception to that rule. Now, the film is directed by a guy who directed just a bunch of TV before this, and even after this film, he just did mostly TV work. Félix Enríquez Alcalá. And I think his direction is decent enough. It's okay. It's there. I think he does a good job shooting a lot of the action sequences, at least scenes that don't involve a lot of shootouts. Those scenes kind of fell a little flat for me. But the scenes involving Seagal just kicking ass and just beating the shit out of people with his fists and his feet and whatever else he can get his hands on, like he does a good job shooting those sequences. Um, does a good job shooting the explosions, the fire down below. Uh, and does a decent enough job with establishing shots and shooting the scenery in the Appalachian Mountains and the locale of the small town. And it's not what I would say direction that's gonna make you really remember it, or it's not like he's the next John McTiernan or anything or the next big thing. And it's not gonna light your fire to the point where, oh man, I can't wait to see what this guy does next. But and even if you did feel that way, well, you didn't really see him do much other than doing more TV shows. But yeah, I mean the direction it's fine for what it is. It's a Steven Seagal action movie. Like I've never really expected stellar, just excellent directing in a Seagal action movie. Can the director keep the camera still and uh, do enough behind the camera to shoot the fight scenes well enough? Oh, he can. All right, then he did a good job. That's really how I feel about the direction here, and the direction for a lot of the Seagal films during Seagal's prime. The script is by Jeb Stewart and Philip Morton. It's based on a story by Jeb Stewart, and at one point, this actually wasn't a Seagal movie. This is actually a Bruce Willis film. But then, and I think it even had a different director attached to it. And then Bruce Willis fell out. I don't know the exact reason for it. But yeah, Bruce Willis just completely left, and then Jeb Stewart's script was rewrote. He was rewritten a lot by Philip Morton to make it fit Steven Seagal instead of Bruce Willis. Um, yeah, the original director was Uli Edel. Yeah, the director of trying to see what else he did. He did like this. Oh, he directed The Little Vampire. Oh, he did the TV movie Rasputin. He directed an episode of Tales from the Crypt. Oh, he directed the Tyson TV movie. The one about Mike Tyson. Okay. All right. So yeah, he was the original director. Something I guess happened, and he wasn't kept on, and then they brought in the Félix, the direct. This is a film that I would say, for a Steven Seagal film, it definitely has one of the better scripts. Like, it's trying to make this into something that's more compelling, with environmental stuff, and Seagal playing this EPA agent and trying to stop this illegal dumping of this toxic waste in this small town. And it does provide a few vibes of like On Deadly Ground, but it's not as preachy as that. So I think it's an improvement over On Deadly Ground in that aspect. There is an attempt to try to create a romance between Seagal's character, a Taggart, and Marg Helgenberger, and her character Sarah. And I don't really think the script does necessarily the best job making that whole relationship honestly feel like it has any genuine spark to it. Like, I buy that he wants to help her out and, you know, be a friend, but I don't really buy them falling in love. And I don't know if that's entirely the fault of the script or just the fault of the fact that Steven Seagal is just, he's not the guy that you want to be trying to court some woman and try to have some ongoing relationship with a character, because he just doesn't have that kind of charisma. He has a different kind of charisma. It's not that kind of charisma. And I do like the way that it handles the villains for the most part, especially the son of Orrin Hanner, uh is, and Orrin Hanner himself. I think the Hanners are written well enough. Like, the son, he's a just a total loser, and you can tell that he's just taking advantage of the power that he has and that he's been given by his father, and he thinks he's untouchable, and he's just a little shit. You want to see Seagal just punch him in the face. You also want to see Seagal take out his father, because he's just a different kind of asshole. The rich prick who thinks he's above the law, but you ain't above mine. That kind of thing. Um, you have this character named Earl, who's the brother of Sarah, and I don't think the script did the best job with whatever twist they were trying to pull with this character. Oh my god, this character who's an abusive piece of shit who abuses his sister and is manipulative and is a awful person. He's working for the bad guys? Oh my god! Like, come on. Really? Come on now. Um, there's this weird opening, like, montage that details the death of Taggart's partner, and you can tell that this was footage that was cut down by the producers, because it's just a really awkward, weird bit of editing with this montage, and it just does a bad job making you sympathize with Seagal's character in terms of, oh my god, my partner died. And you're like, I don't even know who this guy is. I'm supposed to feel anything? Like, there was just a huge mistake, and apparently that was just part of multiple sequences that were just cut out of the movie, because Warner Brothers wanted to make sure that Fire Down Below had the same fast pace and short running time as these other Seagal films that he did for the studio. And just like a lot of these other movies, like The Glimmer Man and On Deadly Ground and some of his other films, they cut a lot of scenes out. So they heavily re-edited Fire Down Below. They deleted a lot of plot and character sequences. They removed a lot of big action sequences. Uh, the sequences that were cut included the opening action sequence involving Taggart and his partner Frank. So there was actually more to that than what was in that awkward opening montage. There were deleted action sequences that involved a really big and complicated chase scene, which took place at night in the woods and hills, and involved police cars chasing a tanker truck full of toxic waste, which eventually crashes into a train on the river bridge. There was a scene where Taggart kills a second corrupt FBI agent by burning him alive in a gas station explosion. That was also cut out and changed, so in the film he leaves him alive. Trailers for the film show different parts of these deleted and alternate sequences. Um, and I don't understand the plan that Warner Brothers has or had for these Seagal films at this time. Yeah, let's spend millions of dollars. And in case of Fire Down Below, let's spend $60 million on this movie. And we're just going to cut out a lot of the sequences that we spent all this money on. And yeah, that'll work out fine. That'll be fine. And they were playing with fire consistently and in considerable fashion because they kept doing this. And then finally they got burned because this movie didn't do well in the box office. Well, maybe you shouldn't have blew $60 million and cut out so much of the movie. So then whatever losses that you have wouldn't be as bad because you wouldn't have spent as much and you wouldn't have shot these scenes that wound up on the cutting room floor. I mean, it's just a bad plan. It really was. Warner Brothers was lucky it didn't blow up in their face earlier. But yeah, it didn't do well. Only 24 million. So yeah, it was a pretty big bomb. And I think it was like the biggest bomb of Seagal's career at this point. So yeah, the script it's there. I mean, I like the idea of Seagal playing this EP agent and going up against this corrupt group of rich uh guys who were dumping toxic waste in the Appalachians in the South, and I do like the dynamic that is presented with Seagal being the stranger who comes into town, and in this small town is essentially bought and paid for by Oren, and so he has a lot of these thugs, these hired guns, even the police department is bought by Oren, and they think that they can just rough up and just take out anyone and there'll be no questions and Seagal's like, nah, I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna kick all of your asses. And I like the bond, like the little bit of the bond of a bond that Taggart creates with this town weirdo Harry, who's also known as Cotton. I think that's kind of a fun little bond that the two share in the script. I think the stuff with Sarah is it's sweet at times, but then it's also kind of just not really that effective. I think maybe it's because of the fact that this isn't the kind of film for that kind of stuff. But it does do a decent enough job making you sympathize with her because she's just alienated by the community because of something that happened when she was a kid, when she defended herself from her abusive father, and something happened and the father died and she served some time in juvie. She got out and now she's just ostracized by the community because of this event that happened when she was young, because in this small town, like, they don't forget. Uh but yeah, I mean, it's a Steven Seagal action movie. So ultimately, it just all of this is just an excuse for Seagal to just kick people's asses. And when he does that, it's fun. I got to admit, it's fun. It really is. I even like the ending where he corners Orin at his own casino and kicks his ass in front of all of his security guards. Um, so yeah, the script isn't spectacular, but it's serviceable for the kind of film that this is. The performances, I mean, Steven Seagal is not the best actor. Let's just be honest here. He works best when he has minimal dialogue, and a lot of the scenes just involve him using his fists and his feet and his elbows. But or other things that he picks up, like pipes or uh, pieces of wood. And when Seagal is doing that stuff, he's right up there with any other action hero of the time. I really get a lot of entertainment out of Seagal just kicking people's asses right and left in this movie. It provides some nostalgia for me because this is technically the first Steven Seagal movie I remember ever watching. I caught it on TV when I was a teenager and had a lot of fun with the scenes where Seagal was just kicking ass and taking names, and I was like, wow, this guy's a badass. I need to see what other movies this guy is in. So that led me to discovering Above the Law and Out for Justice and Under Siege and a lot of the other films from Seagal's prime. So I definitely do have a little nostalgia for this film. And Seagal is fine. Like it's not an Oscar worthy performance, but I don't understand why it's a Razzie worthy performance either. Like for what this film is, Seagal does well. He kicks ass, takes names, does it in believable fashion because at this point in time, Seagal was a badass. And you took him seriously when it comes to him getting involved in a scuffle or a fight or any sort of conflict. You believe that he was gonna win. You believe that he was gonna take everyone out in fun and entertaining fashion, and he was gonna blow shit up real good. Nowadays, you don't believe any of that about Seagal because he doesn't even do his own stunts. But yeah, Steven Seagal, fine for what he was asked to do here. Marg Helgenberger, I know Seagal thinks that she was really good in this, and I would say she was decent. She was all right. I don't think I've seen her do better in television or in other films. But, I thought she was definitely trying her best. I just didn't buy the chemistry between her and Seagal. I didn't really think that they really had much chemistry. Um, but I think that's probably due to the fact that they're trying to make Seagal a ladies' man, and that's just not how it works. Seagal ain't Tom Cruise. Um, Harry Dean Stanton was a lot of fun as Cotton. Really enjoyed his role in this. Uh, had a quirky sense of humor that I thought was really entertaining. Stephen Lang was just a despicable asshole, just a total son of a bitch as Earl, the abusive brother. Um, Brad Hunt was he did a good job playing a guy that you wanted to see get punched in the face. Levon Helm I liked as the Reverend. I didn't mention this in the script when I was talking about the script, but I did like this stuff with his character as well. That character actually did feel for when they ultimately killed him off. Kris Kristofferson, uh, you could tell he was relishing the opportunity to play just a mean bastard, just a rich, mean bastard who just wants to screw the environment and screw everybody, make every last dollar he can in the process. Um, and Christopher Christopherson is he's a good actor, so it was fun. It's fun to see Kris Kristofferson play this villain and have him face off against Steven Seagal. Um, so yeah, I mean the cast for a Seagal film definitely one of the better casts, and I would say that definitely compared to a lot of his other work after this, I mean the cast here is definitely a lot better. And the cinematography, it's a Steven Seagal action movie. It's fine. So is the editing by Robert A. Ferretti. The music by Nick Lenny Smith, I don't really remember any of it for the most part, so I'm not gonna say that it's bad, but I'm also not gonna say it's good. It's the kind of music where it's in the background, and that's really all you can say about it. I know there's a lot of like blues or like bluegrass kind of songs and twangy music. And at times it fits the film, at other times it doesn't, and it just feels kind of out of place, especially like in the opening credits and like the end credits. I see what they're trying to go for, but it just doesn't really fit an action movie. It just doesn't have the right vibe. It's like if you had songs from Rhinestone with Stallone and Dolly Parton, and you just had them in the beginning and like the end credits of a regular like Stallone action thriller. You'd be like, wait, what? Why am I hearing Dolly Parton? I know Seagal is playing a guy who's going undercover in the South, but why am I hearing the Dolly Parton? Why am I hearing country music? Like this doesn't fit. So it's kind of how I feel about that. I honestly feel a lot of that's probably put in there because of Seagal, because he's such a big bluegrass guy. He's a big blues fan. He even did his own album where he sang a song called Alligator Ass. I'm not making it up. The name of the song is Alligator Ass. Um, but it just doesn't. It's not a good fit. It really is not a good fit. It fits about as well as Seagal fits into a tight pair of jeans nowadays, which isn't very well at all. But yeah, I mean, for what it is, it goes by it at a decent enough pace. It's got some good action in it. Uh, I mean, if you like Steven Seagal action movies, I would definitely recommend it. It's fun. It's a fun watch. Um, but it's not like one of the best action films of the 90s. It's not one of Seagal's finest or best films of his filmography, but I mean, I think if he just stopped making films after this, it actually would have been a pretty good run. Pretty good run, better run than a lot of other uh actors in the action genre have had, especially when it comes to a lot of theatrical releases. Uh But no, he had to keep going, and now he's just a joke, and it's embarrassing at this point. And as bad as some people think this film is, like you haven't seen shit. Like, if you think this film sucks, then you haven't seen Attack Force. That's all I have to say. But anyway, thanks for watching my review of Fire Down Below, and until next time, as always, I'll see you later. See ya.